Marcus Wynn is my name, and for 10 years, I have poured my heart, curiosity, and every ounce of technical expertise into Ardenix Dynamics. My father-in-law, Frederick, discovered the company in a dusty basement, back when the world beyond those walls was a blur of soldering wire and fantasy. There was distrust and uncertainty. But Frederick had faith in the potential of an idea fostered by silent commitment. He and I built it together. I didn't come from a glamorous background. I soldered circuit boards and sketched patent designs beneath a single bare bulb. In my father's garage, I disassembled broken radios to understand electronics. My hands learned the language of resistors and capacitors, gliding across boards like a pianist's fingers across ivory keys. Frederick noticed that steadiness in me. While others sought attention, I focused on accuracy, performance, and dependability. He told me early on, sound means nothing without substance. And yet, the instant Ardenix Dynamics moved from a low-level workspace to a high-rise apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows, my place in the company transformed. So did my wife, Clarice. She arrived with champagne toasts and buzzwords. Her brother Troy and sister Mia thought only of perfect selfies at product launches. The months I spent programming a microcontroller to regulate cardiac rhythms were overshadowed by the Riot Expo when Clarice announced our engagement at a gala. She made sure the press release highlighted her ties to a humanitarian foundation. At investor lunches, Troy, with his slicked-back hair, talked about market disruption. Their voices dominated the spotlight, while I was troubleshooting prototypes at 2 a.m., questioning every necessity and recalibrating every fault. They sold spectacle. I built substance. While they measured success by perception metrics, I studied schematics. I retooled drivers and reverse-engineered feedback until our devices performed flawlessly. But rather than appreciating that balance, they mistook my pursuit of perfection for timidity. They believed charm equaled talent. But I believed every resistor and transistor deserved precision. My signature appeared on every line of code, every algorithm. I didn't need press releases. I let results speak. Yet my shield of silence became their weapon. They assumed my humility was weakness. When decisions were questioned, Troy would smirk and say, "Fine tinkering in the background." But when true leadership was needed, I knew exactly where to look. They laughed in the hallways. I returned to the lab. The hum of machines welcomed me more than any applause ever could. My R&D team knew the truth. When they found defects at odd hours, they knocked on my door. I was there, calmly drafting alternate schematics, safeguarding our innovations while the others debated marketing headlines. Every microprocessor I examined, every research deadline I memorized, it all wove into a digital tapestry that only I fully understood. For reasons Frederick never fully explained, he insisted we register the patents in my name. I trusted him. He built Ardenix from nothing, and new branding might attract eyes. But it's intellectual property that builds reality. In my quiet hands, the blueprint of a global company was more valuable than all their press junkets combined. I remember the moment I discovered a better way to reduce signal interference in our neural stabilizer chip. My heart raced. Not because I wanted attention, but because it worked. Clarice glanced at the prototype. She gave a polite nod and moved on to planning the next gala. Mia imagined a viral campaign. Troy wanted a grand keynote. Me? I imagined patience, stabilized, breathing easy. They mistook my silence for submission, but every late-night redesign, every patent filing, was my quiet protest. They wanted noise, but I knew leadership often lives in the unnoticed corners, where creation thrives in silence. They had the voice. I had the vision. Even as they mocked me at family dinners, the quiet engineer who married into the dynasty, I held the key to Ardenix's future. Then everything changed. Frederick had a stroke. And while we were calibrating pressure sensors on a cardiac prototype, Dennis Hawthorne burst into the lab. "They're moving against you," he said, grabbing my arm. His suit fluttered like a frightened bird. Before I could ask, Clarice's heels echoed down the hallway. Troy stood in the executive suite, glass walls surrounding him like a trophy case. Mia sat poised, eyes fixed on the screen. Clarice leaned forward, her fingers laced, lips curled in triumph. A power play masked as a meeting. Troy declared coldly, "Marcus Wynn is released from all executive duties." His voice echoed over the table. Clarice didn't even look up. Mia tapped her manicured nail across her tablet. Dennis adjusted his glasses and cleared his throat. "Procedurally, we're in compliance," he said, his voice trembling. "Marcus will receive severance in advisory stock options." I felt nothing. A strange calm washed over me, as if I were back in that basement lab, Frederick's voice whispering about ownership, about worth, the patents filed in my name, for a reason. Troy looked at me, expecting outrage. Clarice leaned toward her brother. Mia smirked. That's when I pulled a folder from my briefcase. My voice, calm and deliberate, cut through the tension. "I have one question." They leaned in. I gave a half smile. "Where do you believe the company's key patents were filed?" Troy blinked. "What are you talking about?" Mia froze. Clarice frowned. Dennis stammered. "Well, Ardenix has all the patents." I raised a hand. "No. Ardenix licensed the technology. From me. All of it. The stabilizer chip, the feedback modules, the neural interfaces, every component." Silence fell. Heavy. Hot. "You just removed the only person who holds irrevocable rights to the very tech your company runs on." I laid the patent documents on the table. Signed, sealed, and binding. Inventor rights. Triggered the moment Frederick's leadership ended. "As of today," I said, "Ardenix cannot produce, market, or even test our devices without my express written consent." Mia's mouth dropped. Troy went pale. Clarice's nod froze in midair. Dennis dropped his pen. Their celebration crumbled, built on sand. And I simply picked up my pencil, tucked it behind my ear, and smiled, because I wasn't done building.